Ghostbusters Afterlife is a 2021 American supernatural comedy film directed by Jason Reitman. The film stars Carrie Coon, Wolfhard, Mckenna and Paul Rudd. It is a sequel to Ghostbusters 1984 and Ghostbusters II in 1989, and the fourth film in the Ghostbusters franchise. Set 32 years after the events of Ghostbusters II, it follows a single mother and her children who moved to an Oklahoma farm, which they inherited from her estranged father, Egon Spengler, a member of the original Ghostbusters. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Potts and Sigourney Weaver appear in supporting roles, reprising their characters from the earlier films. A third Ghostbusters film is in development since the release of Ghostbusters II, but production stalled because Murray refused to return to the series. After cast member Harold Ramis died on February 24, 2014, Sony produced a female-driven reboot directed by Paul Feig and released in 2016. After Feig's film drew controversy and underperformed commercially, Jason Reitman decided developing the sequel from the original films. The new cast was announced in July 2019, and the original cast signed on 2 months later. Filming took place from July to October 2019, and the film is dedicated to Ramis and executive producer Tom Pollock, who died shortly after its completion. And the former is commemorated before its closing credits. This was the final film to be produced by and involved the franchise's co-creator, Ivan Reitman, who in addition also performed as the ghost form stand-in for the character of Spengler, before his death on February 12, 2022. Now, Ghostbusters Afterlife is a fun, easy film and a real nostalgia trip for any Ghostbusters fans. It's purely made as a fan service, and almost an apology to the poorly performing all-female cast-led Ghostbusters in 2016, which I actually quite enjoyed. Nothing though will compare to the original films, and this one just made me want to watch them all again. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's well made and tries to be original in its own way. But for me though, it just seems to be in a sentimental take, almost like a tribute from son to father, as of course Jason Reitman directs this film, son of co-creator Ivan Reitman. This film also plays a huge tribute to the late Harold Ramis, who of course died in 2014, and the use of CGI to recreate his ghostly, eerie character is well done, if not somewhat unnerving. For me though, the best part of the film is seeing all the original actors, the live ones anyway, reprising their roles from the original movies. Obviously look a lot older, but it's just wonderful to see them out again on screen in the Ghostbusters uniforms, shooting proton packs as if it was back in the 80s. Just seeing Bill Murray's Venkman with his dry humour and one-liners, as well as Dan Aykroyd's Ray Stantz as the socially awkward but yet passionate scientist. And of course the cool calm Winston Zeddemore, played by Ernie Hudson, who is now a successful businessman. Just seeing all these actors, and of course the little cameo at the end by Sigourney Weaver as Dana Barrett, and even the cameo right at the start by Annie Potts reprising her character of Janine Melnitz was just fun to see. Of course, seeing the Ecto 1, the Ghostbusters mobile, hurtling around was great fun, as well as bringing back all the original antagonists from the first movie, including the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, albeit in a different form. This film is a complete and utter nostalgia trip, and that's the part I loved about it. In terms of the new bits, the kids are okay. Wolfhard basically plays an older version of himself from Stranger Things, and Nishi has carved out for himself playing teenagers and horrors. Mckenna is the quiet, nerdy Phoebe, who of course is considered an outcast, but yet has genius intellect, and she plays the girl version basically of a younger Egon Spengler. Although it is completely unrealistic that she, her brother and her friend, Podcast, played by Logan Kim, could rebuild and reform the Ghostbusters and bring down the now returning Gozar, who is now of course played by Olivia Wilde. My other gripe with the movie was the Mckenna song that was released with the movie called Haunted House. It's absolute pop rubbish and doesn't go with the movie at all, especially after Ray Parker Jr.'s original classic Ghostbusters, Who You Gonna Call? I always enjoy Carrie Coon and her witty and tough yet sympathetic take on Kelly, who of course plays the daughter of Egon Spengler, who had a strained relationship with her father, to say the least. She, though, of course, is a tough mother bringing up these two children on her own, and Carrie Coon plays the role perfectly. Paul Rudd plays his usual comical self as Gary Guberman, the local teacher who has a bigger mind than the little town that he lives in. I feel he was just cast to bring some name power to the film. I found this movie to be strangely paced, as the opening hour is quite slow and drags out somewhat, where the last hour seems to rush through it so it can neatly fit within the 2-hour time frame. Ghostbusters Afterlife is a fun family film, but really is a nostalgia trip for the original 80s movies. So in that vein, I'd actually rather go and watch them again. But if you want a modern, updated version of the Ghostbusters with some fantastic CGI, then this movie is for you. Ghostbusters Afterlife gets a 6 out of 10.